afternoon, everybody. It's your boy D-Mac, and I'm back with another story for you because you know how I go down the rabbit hole and I just come up with stuff. And this story right here really stood out to me because it brings up a great point about sports and drugs. So, the Los Angeles Angels baseball team has a communications director whose name is Eric Kay. Now, Eric Kay is going on trial for a fatal overdose of former Los Angeles pitcher Tyler Skaggs. So apparently what happened was 5 players came out and said that Eric Kay provided them with oxycodone, and the oxycodone that he was providing is what contributed to the death of Tyler Skaggs in his overdose. Now, Eric Kay, he pled not guilty to the charges, and he'll be going to trial this week for it. But there's so much evidence against him that, there's no chance. There's no snowball's chance in Sheol that he's gonna get off of this, because it says Skaggs died from a mix of ethanol, fentanyl, and oxycodone intoxication through a counterfeit oxy pill that turned out to be fentanyl laced. So that's why we say, man, you have to be careful with these pills and these drugs out here that you're getting from people, because you don't know what you're really getting. And I used to be really big, and I was heavy on drugs, man, a long time ago. And I thank God for deliverance from some of those things in my life. Because when you're out there and you're taking these different drugs, you don't know what type of ingredients are put in these drugs. You're trusting a person that you do not know for your health benefit. And we know that most drugs that we take off of the streets is not going to be good for our body anyway. So we're taking a double chance at death whenever we go out here and we get these pills from people. Every single day is a test of your life or your death. This is what it comes down to, because like you said before, you've seen many people who went out here and got drugs and they overdosed because they didn't know what they were putting in their body, and they may have already had something in their body that didn't react well to the drug that they were already on. And a lot of times when we was coming up, when we did things like that, we call it speedball. That's when you take a bunch of different uppers that's just gonna have you wired and you don't even know what you're the highest off of. And so you have to be careful out here messing with these street pharmaceuticals. It's a dangerous thing nowadays. It's not like it used to be back in the days. So we have to check up on that, because now you got the drug dealers who are bringing the drugs to the stadium. It said that their drugs was delivered to them at the Angels Stadium the day that Skaggs died. That means they got drug dealers running in and out of stadium, bringing oxycodone, fentanyl, coke, whatever you need, because we're not talking about weed no more. We're past that. Everybody's grown now, so let's get past this thing where everybody in the entertainment industry and the sports industry love to say weed when we talk about drugs. No, we're not talking about weed. We're talking about fentanyl. We're talking about flocka. We're talking about cocaine. We're talking about all of those different hard drugs. Not no weed. No, that ain't the case here. You don't OD on marijuana. These guys are dying, and they're dying from these pills. So what got him on these pills in the first place? Because it could have started as, like a lot of people do who get hooked on pills. Start out, he has pains, he's an athlete, so he's gonna be placed on a regimen of medications to take. And oxycodone is probably one of those medications or something close to it that gave him the same feeling, because these pain medications can be very, very strong. And so, they get hooked on these drugs, and now you got that worm who was the communications director. This dude had a job, but he also had a habit, and he had to support his habit without letting them get wind of what he was going through. And so he did that by serving up drugs to the athletes at Los Angeles Stadium. And that's how he supported his habit. And so this guy was online selling memorabilia for drugs. He was selling the Los Angeles Angels memorabilia online to support his habit, as well as selling drugs to the other players. Now, like I said before, it's 5 players that said that he provided them with oxycodone. And we don't know the names of these players. They're holding the names. We don't know if they're still active in the league or if they're retired or what the case may be. But these guys have went on record saying that Eric K has done this, and they're willing to testify in court. So I guess whenever the court proceedings come out, we'll find out who these athletes are who are making these claims. There are a lot of claims in sports. We know the steroid epidemic. We see what happened with Russia in the Olympics, how they were trading their bad pee for good pee through a hole in the wall. That's the story that was said, allegedly. And so there's a history in sports of drug abuse. And we, as the people, feel like, okay, you're a grown person and you have all of these things on your mind. You have so many things going on. You got these pains and these aches, and you get hooked on pills. I can understand that. I can see that happening. It happens every day. People get hooked on prescription medications, and then they go to street pharmaceuticals when they can no longer get the prescriptions for what they're abusing. So, these guys are going out here, and now they're putting their health and their life at risk. And who is watching over these guys? How are they getting around the drug tests and things like that to be able to take these types of drugs? Well, I'm gonna tell you, there's definitely a way. Where there's a will, there's a way, and there's somebody on the inside who's getting paid to facilitate that. There's money in everything, and in this capitalist country that we live in, everybody's gonna capitalize on every opportunity, good, bad, or ugly. And this is a case where Eric K he capitalized on the drug abuse and the addiction of the players of the team in order to support his own. And as a end result of that, Tyler Skaggs lost his life. Now, we had a similar case with, I believe it was Demi Lovato and the guy who sold her the drugs, and they charged him because she overdosed. These things definitely need to happen more, because there needs to be an example set in the sports industry that this is not tolerated. And people just looking over your shoulder is not going to get it, because these guys have condoms tied up with pee in it. They have little devices that'll squirt the pee out and keep it at body temperature. All of these innovative things so that they can pass these drug tests and continue to do the drugs that they're doing. So when you wonder why, he's off tonight, that's probably because he had a hard night last night on those drugs and wasn't really recuperated, so he couldn't give his all in the match or the game that they were playing. So this answers some of the questions with what be going on with some of these athletes sometimes. It ain't no weed, it ain't no drinking, it's hard drugs. Let's get off of that weed thing and just saying it's weed all the time, because that is not what it is that's causing these people's life to go down the drain and for them to overdose. And this is a prime example right here. To the Skaggs family, condolences and prayers to you guys. We hope that Yahweh softens your heart and brings you comfort and understanding in this moment. To the Eric K, brother, you need to get yourself together. I hope they get you in a treatment program, and I hope this really snaps you out of what you're going through, because I understand that when you're on drugs and you're an addict out there, everybody don't have the same rock bottom. My rock bottom is not the next man's rock bottom. So what it's gonna take to get me to get off of drugs and to move in a positive direction is gonna be totally different than somebody else. Somebody may have to fall further down and hit more rocks on the bottom in order for them to realize what they're doing to themselves. So, Mr. K, I hope that you don't go too far now.